What's the scariest fact you know in your profession that no one else outside of it knows? Climbing into an unventilated manhole can kill you in seconds, and you wouldn't even know anything was seriously wrong. You think that's air you're breathing now? Manholes can fill with gases that are heavier than breathable air. You think you are breathing normally, but instead, you fall unconscious and suffocate from lack of oxygen. As a librarian, you'd be horrified how many books we get returned and have to throw out because they're absolutely covered in bed bugs. We put a block on accounts and notify patrons, but I'm specifically told not to mention this problem to the public whatsoever by management. I used to work in banking, and it was eye-opening to see how many people were victims of fraud, how little recourse there is to get the money back, and how little the police can do for you too. I work in homelessness. There's lots of scary stuff about this work that people are probably aware of or are intentionally ignorant of, but one of the most scary or shocking things I learned in this work was pretty early on in it. There are lots and lots of reasons that people experiencing homelessness may be dirty or not shower frequently. However, I have had it reported to me multiple times that a female client is refusing to shower or practice hygiene because being dirty, unclean, or stinky prevents men from raping her when she's sleeping outside. Both very scary and very sad. I work in a shelter. Some of our guests are from middle and upper class backgrounds. Bad choices, bad health, bad treatment, and bad luck can happen to all of us, sometimes very quickly. As far as I can tell, the only thing all homeless people have in common is trauma and loss. I'm a nurse. I'd say it's probably the fact that people know when they're going to die. They will straight up tell you, "Today is my last day. Thank you for being kind." You reassure them because their vitals are good, they are taking to treatment well, and nothing is happening that would indicate a drastic decline. Then inevitably, you will hear a flatline on the machine and run in, and sure enough, that patient has passed away. If it hadn't happened so many times, I would chalk it up to a few people who just didn't have the will to live anymore. But I've seen it enough. I know that's not it. Really creepy when you think about it too hard. I used to work in child protection. The people most likely to harm your child or you are people you already know, most likely family members. You can bar the door against bad men lurking in dark alleys. But when you do, remember who you're locking in with you. I stop hundreds of cars a year from running over children and adults as a crossing guard. I'm only there 2 hours a day, 5 days a week during the school year. It's insane how dangerous it is for kids to walk to school. Edit. If anyone sees this, please remember that your local crossing guard stands there 10 hours a week. They know which kids are safe and which kids will run out without looking. If we're making you wait longer, there's probably a very good reason, like a kid on a bike is coming that you can't see. Please, we aren't there to inconvenience you. Do you think your local town wants to spend like $8,000 to $10,000 per guard per year at each crossing? I work with government documents and read a lot of internal emails. Two things I found out. Many of these people can't write or spell worth a damn. Borderline unreadable sometimes. One person was complaining about an increase in vandalism. The bar for too crazy to work for a regulatory agency is a lot higher than you think. One person explained that their psychic powers showed them that all their co-workers were involved in some pretty extreme sex crimes. Probably how painful and long dying naturally can take. I work in memory care and have cared for so many people dying. It's not a nice conversation with a loved one and then peacefully drifting off to sleep like in the movies. Sometimes it can take days, up to 2 weeks once they transition before they take their last breath. Sometimes they scream and writhe for days while unconscious until they pass. Morphine should be a human right. Assisted suicide should be a human right. All these people working administrative jobs that depend on computers, 90% of them don't really know how to properly use them, nor do they really know how to use the basic software like Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. Maybe not very scary, but incredibly frustrating and depressing for me, especially each time I'm called by a colleague to solve the easily fixable problem they have. And I'm not from the IT department. 2 hours ago, it was because a colleague didn't know how to turn off the formatting marks in Word.